Overwhelm often feels like a shadow that's just with you all the time. And this week, I want us to tackle exactly how you can stop feeling so overwhelmed in life as a mom. By the end of this chat, you'll know exactly which dials to turn in your life so that you can shake off that heavy feeling and step into a more enjoyable everyday life as a mom. If you need more of that in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. I'm Erin Christopoulos, a mother of two and teacher-turned-mom strategist who puts the pieces of mom life together so you don't have to. I get that you're short on time and don't have the capacity to figure out everything on your own, which is why I'm here to help you get clear on where to put your focus while protecting your time and energy so you can actually enjoy these years with your little ones. I'm ditching the overwhelming and unrealistic one-size-fits-all tactics and replacing them with an approach that's practical and personal, because I believe your family is one of a kind with its own qualities and values that deserve an adaptable approach, offering support and encouragement where you need it most. From honest conversations and mindset shifts to practical tips and sustainable strategies, consider this your customizable guide to mom life. With the tools and resources you need at your fingertips, you'll finally have the confidence and clarity you need to bring more intention and ease to everyday life so that you and your family thrive. This is the Mom Life Handbook. I thought it'd be fun to add a new segment to the beginning of our episodes where I give you a peek inside my own survival stack. These are the products and services that I rely on to cut the overwhelm, calm the chaos, and make mom life that much easier for myself. This week, I'm sharing with you a service that I am so excited to have in my back pocket because it's always sick season for my kids. Whether they're in school, we're traveling, or they're at camp, chances are one of them is probably going to get sick. And with our lives being as busy as they are, the last thing I want to do is have to rearrange our whole day in order to get my child seen by a doctor, which is why I'm relying on Blueberry Pediatrics. It's a virtual platform that offers 24/7 urgent care right from your phone. I'll tell you that my daughter is so prone to ear infections. We're talking 4, 5, 6 a year. And nothing pains me more than to see her in the middle of the night upset and having to tell her that we have to wait until morning when the doctor's office opens so that I can call and schedule the sick appointment. And then we have to rearrange our whole day, drive 30 minutes to see the doctor, wait in the waiting room, be seen by the doctor, only to be told, yep, she has an ear infection, and then send us on our way for the 30-minute drive home. Nothing is more maddening. Instead, you're on the phone with the doctor in under an hour so that you can get your child the care and comfort that they deserve as quickly as possible. I'm linking to Blueberry Pediatrics in the show notes, but you can also send me a DM at Mom Life Handbook on Instagram. Send me the word blueberry. I'll know what you're looking for and instantly respond with a link that will not only share more about Blueberry Pediatrics, but will also get you access to a free medical kit. When this arrived on our doorstep, the kids were so excited to see what was inside. It includes all of the smart tools that your Blueberry Pediatrics team needs in order to receive vitals quickly. It includes a thermometer, pulse oximeter, and an otoscope. So if your kiddo gets ear infections as well, they can see inside their ear without having to be in the room with you. All of this conveniently syncs up with an app. Your doctor gets the information they need, and you can go on with your day. For just $15 a month, this is a service that I am not willing to take out of my survival stack. Trust me, this is worth it, especially given that there are no copays and it covers your whole family. Check out Blueberry Pediatrics in the show notes or DM me the word blueberry on Instagram. Mom life can feel like a constant juggling act, right? Between the bills, the kids, work, self-care, if self-care even makes the cut, it's no wonder that we often feel so overwhelmed. But today we're going to flip the script. we're going to talk about power zones. No, it's not a new fitness trend or an energy drink. It's a whole lot better. It's about knowing where you have the most control and how you can leverage that to lighten your load. We'll dig into what holds you back and how to stop pointing fingers, whether it's at your partner, your job, or even yourself. Instead, we're going to focus on what you can change. These power zones are all about knowing what levers you can pull to make a real difference in your day. We're not going for a total life overhaul here. We're never about that here at Mom Life Handbook. Instead, this is about small, doable shifts that give you big returns. So if you've got a few moments in your busy day, whether you're doing the laundry or you're on your commute or just catching a breath, this is your sign to take some time for yourself and tune in. We're rolling up our sleeves, and trust me, by the end, you'll be more capable, more empowered, and honestly, just more you. So let's set the scene. Imagine you wake up to your alarm and immediately feel overwhelmed. You've got 2 young kids to get dressed, fed, and ready for daycare. Plus, you have to prepare for a work meeting. And just the thought of that alone is making you more anxious. And here's maybe how that plays out. First, your toddler refuses to eat the breakfast that you carefully prepared, insisting that they want Cheerios instead. This sets you back about 10 minutes. Then you can't find your 4-year-old's favorite pair of pink shoes, leading to a small meltdown, and that's even more lost time. And then once all is said and done, you skip breakfast for yourself because you have to make time to get ready for work. Now, along the way, you might be saying like, I wish my toddler weren't such a picky eater. And like, my 4-year-old has got to find a way to wear other shoes other than their favorite ones. And you also might wish that your job were less demanding so that you had more flexibility in when you roll into work. And you might wish that your partner were more helpful in the mornings, more hands-on. And it's natural to feel like you've got no control over these external factors. And that's reasonable. You really can't control your kids' quirks. You can't control your boss's demands. It can really feel like the world is against you. It feels like the world is against you and there's literally nothing you can do about it. And it is easier to place blame on those factors because they are very real, but it doesn't mean we have to sidestep looking for solutions. And trust me when I say we all have moments where we really feel like everything is beyond our control. In fact, that's something for me that's really hard. I do not like to feel out of control. I like to feel calm, cool, and collected. And when there's pressure against me that I'm feeling as if I cannot control, it's really upsetting and stressful. But I wanted to take some time to focus on some beliefs we have when it comes to the blame game. The things that we often defer to when we say, well, it's not working because of X, Y, and Z. I ultimately want to look at what we can do to overcome these limitations because I don't want them to be the reason that you're held back from making progress. So one trap that many of us fall into is believing that we have a lack of time. You might feel like you're too swamped with the kids, work, and chores to even make any meaningful changes. But it's not so much that we have a lack of time because every single human on the face of the earth has the exact same amount of time. Usually if we're feeling like we don't have enough time, it's just that we need to shift the way that we're thinking about our time and budgeting our time. Another aspect that we might blame is our spouse or partner support. You might be wishing that they would step up more, thinking that that would solve so many of the issues. It's really easy to believe that someone else holds the key to our happiness or our efficiency. But we have to, at the end of the day, decide for ourselves if we are going to rely on someone else to affect the change that we want to see in our lives. Work-life balance also gets blamed. Your job might leave you feeling drained, and it makes it really easy to blame work for your lack of energy at home. And I think that that is a very real conversation to have. But if that's not a circumstance that you can change, we need to shift our focus to what you can change, what you can influence. Also, there are those parenting challenges, the things about our kids that we just can't change. It's easy to externalize our struggles and blame them on our children's behavior, but we do need to find a way to work around those hiccups because our kids are young and they're still learning and they have a lot of growing to do. And we have to find a way to accommodate that rather than blame it. And family or home obligations. You might find that you have to prioritize others' needs over your own and thinking that you have no choice in the matter. We do assume roles in our family and in our households that can dictate our actions, but they don't have to have control over us. So I want us to dive into that today as well. These are all legitimate challenges, and I want to create a space where we are acknowledging them and even maybe recognizing which are harder for us than others, because it will help you hone in on where your struggles are falling right now and what you could do to work around them or shape them or shift them. If you hold on to the belief that these are the reasons that you are overwhelmed, it might leave you feeling stuck and powerless. So my goal for us today is to instead look at what you can do, what you do have control over, so that you can shift the experience you're having in spite of these challenges. Are you feeling like you can never quite get everything done in a day? Me too, mama. That's why I created a free downloadable guide full of practical strategies to help you get the most out of your day. 5 Productivity Secrets for Busy Moms is the practical guide you need to finally start getting the most out of your day without compromising on time with your family. Head to momlifehandbook.com/productivity guide and download your free copy today. What I want us to focus on today are something I like to call power zones. Think of these as your zones of genius. Now, you may not feel like these are necessarily all your strong suit, but what they are the levers that you can pull when you need to in order to shift a situation. Now, bear in mind that as we go through these zones, these are not about perfection, and they are definitely not about firing on all cylinders. You do not need to rely on all of these power zones at once in order to live an effective life as a mom. Instead, what I want you to do is really look at how can you use these to your advantage when you need to. We'll talk more about how to use these in problem solving in a minute, but first, let's go over what the 5 power zones are. The first is time management. I want you to understand that it's important that you allocate your time intentionally. This can be incredibly empowering, whether it's setting boundaries or prioritizing tasks. This zone is a game changer. One that comes to mind for me in the mornings is knowing that if I manage my time right, my mornings don't have to be overwhelming and stressful. If I get up and I get myself ready before the kids are up, and I'm talking 10 minutes, I'm not talking about some lengthy, absurd morning routine. I'm talking about getting dressed, brushing my teeth and washing my face, maybe throwing on some mascara. If I allocate those 10 minutes before the kids are up, my morning plays out so much differently than if I wait to take care of myself last. So looking for those little windows of opportunity and how can you manage your time so that it just streamlines your efforts, it makes a huge difference. The next power zone is emotional regulation. Momming becomes so much harder when you are dysregulated. Your emotional state has a huge impact on your environment. So learning how to better manage your emotions can really bring a sense of calm to your household. Whether it's you're practicing deep breathing or you're practicing your own timeouts for yourself, stepping away in those moments when you feel the most overwhelmed can really shift the energy in the room. I know for me, I really feel that like boiling point come up out of my stomach into my chest, and there's so much tension there. And when I start feeling that to hit, instead of allowing it to boil over, I've now learned that is my moment where I need to pause, take a deep breath, choose what matters most to me. And maybe that means stepping away. Maybe it means saying I'm feeling overwhelmed and saying what I need in that moment. And that allows me to then avoid reaching this point where I feel out of control, where I lose my cool with the kids or snap at my husband. And I'm not saying that I have this down to a perfect science because I don't, but it's something I've really been working on, and it really does make a difference in how things play out in the moments when you're feeling the most overwhelmed. So you can choose to make that a higher priority than maybe you have in the past. Also, communication is another power zone. How are you communicating with your spouse, your kids, or even yourself? Because depending on how you approach that, it can really add to your overwhelm or lessen it. Clear, assertive communication can solve so many misunderstandings before they escalate. I think that there's a lot of assumed communication that you think you're being clear with the rest of your family, or maybe your colleagues or your boss at work, or even yourself, when really we have to lay out our plans or lay out our expectations in a way that is undoubtedly, undeniably as clear as possible. And that includes communicating your needs and your limits to your family so that everyone is on the same page. It will help lessen that sense of chaos in your life. The fourth power zone is adaptability. Things are not always going to go as planned. In fact, I would say count on it. Count on things not going to plan. Being adaptable helps you navigate through those unexpected challenges without adding to the stress. For example, getting myself ready in the mornings allows me to then be more adaptable when my kids aren't following our morning routine lockstep. It's so easy for my kids to get sidetracked in the morning. They want to play, they want to be silly, they want to listen to music. They do not want to get down to business. I mean, let's be real, who does? So before, what I would do is feed the kids and say, okay, go get ready while I go get ready. And then I would come out and find myself so frustrated to find my kids still in their pajamas or shoes aren't on their feet. Now my plan has been get ready before everyone's up. And when I send the kids off to go get ready, I hope that I can get something else done, like maybe do the dishes or start a load of laundry, something inconsequential. And then I'm freed up for more frequent check-ins to make sure that my kids are on track and following through on the expectations. Whereas before, I was setting myself up for so much frustration because we were then out of time and I couldn't allow for my kids to be behind schedule. I couldn't be adaptable. Instead, all I could be was stressed. And our last power zone is self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup. I want you to take time for yourself, not because it's a luxury, but because it's essential for your well-being and by extension for your family. Incorporating small moments of self-care, even if it's just a 5-minute meditation before everyone wakes up, will help your nervous system be regulated, help you feel your best, and help you ride the waves of mom life a lot more confidently. Remember that these zones aren't about mastering all of them at once. I want you to recognize which zones you can improve on and which are your strengths. So if you feel like there's a part in your day that you're really struggling with, go through those power zones and ask yourself, which are my strengths? How can you capitalize on them in other parts of your life? How can you use those to your advantage? And then conversely, how can you tweak the weak? There's no perfect in every zone, but if you can pinpoint what you could strengthen or bolster and focus on making small manageable adjustments there, you're going to see then that when you pair that with the strengths you already have in that area, suddenly the things that weren't working for you really start to click and fall into place. I'm sure that you're walking away with some real tools to help you break down that wall of overwhelm. We unpacked a lot today. We talked about the all too familiar blame game that we all play, and more importantly, how to navigate those barriers. Remember, this isn't about pointing fingers, it's about finding solutions that are within your own control, and your power zones are how you do that. You can choose to focus in on your time management, emotional regulation, communication, adaptability, and self-care. These are all areas where you have the most sway, and you can use them to your advantage. So what's your next move? Maybe it's tweaking a weak zone, like finding those 15 minutes to yourself for some much needed emotional regulation before you hit a stressful part of your day. Or maybe it's leaning into a strong zone, like nailing that communication with your partner to divide and conquer your hectic mornings. The smaller steps matter. You're not just surviving, you're thriving when you focus on them, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. If you found value in it, please make sure that you hit the follow button. That way, more episodes just like this one land right on your feed every week. And as we wrap up this week's episode, remember, mom life is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's to leading with purpose and intention as you simplify mom life in the week ahead.